And we are live. Welcome back to this live Q&A. So moving forward, I'm just going to be addressing one question so I can get deeper into the concepts discussed rather than just scatter my focus and answering 8 to 10 questions a day. So let me know moving forward if this is something that you support or if you would prefer the old format. So without further ado, let's get on with the question. I've been trying an RPE-based routine for the last few weeks, and I've been having a bit of a hard time integrating various things together to find a good weight. Obviously, based off the name, RPE is the rate of perceived exertion. This means that an RPE 7 would be a weight that you would feel that you have gone 3 or more reps. But as volume accumulates over the course of a workout, you would expect the RPE to increase, right? So, should you choose a weight such that your last, most fatigue set is prescribed RPE or your first? First of all, great question because RPE is something I've recently tried within the last couple months. So, I've probably had maybe 6 to 8 months of training RPE style, whereas for the first 8 or 9 years, I've only been training using percentages. So going straight towards your question, yes, you're spot on with the RP7. It's a solid 3 reps. That's how I would like to think about it. That means if you did only one working set and you felt that you could have gotten 3 very smooth, easy reps, RP7. Now, RP8 definitely had 2 more reps in the tank, RPE8. RPE9 definitely at least 1 rep in the tank. And then RPE 10, max effort. RPE 9, can't can't get more than 1 rep, but maybe you can increase the weight, or it's either you think you can probably get another rep, but you're not sure because you already did one. So there's many different ways of thinking about RPE, but it really depends on you. Okay, this middle part of the question. As volume accumulates over the course of a workout, you expect the RP to increase. Yes. So, how I like to think about it, RPE is definitely all your working sets together, and the RPE is averaged. So, just because your first set went well, but your last set is the hardest set, you would take the average of all three. And if you really want to be honest with yourself, you should definitely take the last set because that's when you're most fatigued. Of course, you can if your workout only consists of one set, then you would base your numbers and training off that. But because we require multiple sets to force growth, that's why you those second, third sets matter. So just adjusting for the first set, it would not be great for you because you are using weight heavier than your body is accumulated based off your programming, because if your programming calls for RP7 all throughout the sets and your frequency is high, they're expecting you to nail these nail those workouts, nail those prescribed reps very solidly, smoothly, uh, not too much fatigue. They're fast, they feel light. That's what the program calls for. But if you based it off the first set and by the last set you're grinding, that's just no. The weight's too high for you. So you would need to dial it back down. Even though if you dial it back down, your first set feels like warm up, but by the end, it feels like RP7 is like, okay, now you're within the ballpark. And plus RPE isn't something that is like a science. It's definitely trial and error. You definitely need to understand what works best for you and how you respond to certain exercises. So I'm sure your RPE7 is different from my RPE7. And I'm 100% sure as you gain more experience in weightlifting or training in the gym, that your RP7 right now will be different from an RP7 2 years from now. Because what I thought was a struggle back then, and then I'm thinking about how I am tackling submaximal weight now. I'm just it was a joke to realize that, oh man, back then what I thought was heavy and what right now what's heavy, it's just a constant improvement. So I've answered the part where you felt that the weight is most fatigued. That, yeah, definitely do it from the last set. I think an average would do good. It really depends on you. If you And I'm not saying that you can't use RPE from your first set, because maybe you have a good gauge, you are able to hit 3 sets at based off the first RPE and it feels easy throughout the 3 sets. For me, that's not all the exercises are like that, but maybe for you, that would be. So it's definitely something to try out, definitely something to play around with. But if you're having a hard time with RPE, maybe you would want to think about it in sets and reserves. So Dr. PhD deadlift, Ben Pollock, someone I've been following, he invented, well, he not invented, but he likes to use uh, reps in reserve, RIR, and it's just another way of using RPE. And he likes to he used the analogy, if I'm very briefly remembering, something along the lines of that RPE is just one way of viewing and judging how much fatigue you're accumulating and exerting during training. So it's not going to work for everybody. So here is another way you can think about it. It's called reps in reserve, RIR. I think it's something about at 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 its RP 10, RIR 0. Now you can't do any more sets. You can't increase the reps, and you can't increase the weight. I think for RP 9 you could do one more set, and you can increase the reps or weight, but you can only do one more set. And I think RP8 you can do 2 more sets with increase reps and increase sets. But if you want his official definition, definitely an easy Google search. He has a ton of great information that's free, and if you want coaching from him, it's also available. But he definitely lays it out there, and it's very easy to follow. And just viewing RP like that, just thinking about, oh, can you do more sets, more reps, more weight, and then scale it down and then relate it to RPE while knowing your current definition, it really ties in to the whole picture of your training. Because, yeah, right now you can, oh yeah, you felt like you could do 3 more, but like next week you would do maybe 5 pounds heavier on your squat, and you felt like you could do 4 more. So did last week's RPE 7, was that not a 7? Was it maybe a 6? And this week is the true 7? I think you're in your head on that a little bit, because we have to step back and know that strength isn't linear. Strength is fluctuating, and definitely your rate of how you approach training is also fluctuating. As much as we like to think that we're only improving and it's progressing linearly, it isn't. So just putting that into perspective, that some days will feel great, some days will feel really bad, but most of the days will feel average. But we're on a nice non-linear progressing, nice little wavy line going up, trending upward, and we'll take it what it is. Most of the days is going to be average, we'll, and that's how you have to view it. Don't put too much into it. Today you put in the best amount of effort you can do, and you'll take that down, record it as one piece of data, and then move on. So that the next time you do face certain roadblocks, whether it's psychological, emotional, or maybe even physical, you'll know how to scale it back based off your own personal personal feedback. I know for me that since most of my days are average and training getting close to 10 years into the game, that even though if I don't feel great, I know I can do certain weights because that's my floor. And even now, I think my floor will change from 1 year from now, 2 years from now. So, but just knowing mentally that, hey, doesn't matter how you feel, let's get the weight, let's get the work done. It might feel heavy, but it moves fast. That's that's highest. That's at least RPE 7 or 8 ish. Oh, you can do it like that as well. So you can view RPE 7 as the weight feels light and it moves fast. RPE 8, the weight feels heavy and moves fast. So that's the distinction. RPE 9, weight feels heavy and the bar speed slows down, and RPE 10 is of course max effort. Taking a video recording of yourself would also help. So it's just this in this way of viewing RPE, you're seeing both how you feel and then you're viewing the bar path and bar speed through the video, and then you're taking the average. So if you felt it was heavy but it looked light, just label it RP8. Don't put too much extra thought into it, that maybe you can get one more, maybe you could squeeze three more. RP8, move on, and then accumulate the data. Okay, last 4 weeks, this was the trend, RPE8. Okay, maybe you need to decrease the weight next session. Or maybe you do decrease the weight in the following sessions, and then, okay, it felt really light, but that was the right RPE for the time. So you'll just have to bite the ego, stick to the programming, and let the results speak for themselves. It's really trial and error, learning about how much you can tolerate, learning the ropes in the game, just staying patient. Because yes, there are mental roadblocks. Because when you see certain weights that you've been plateauing for months and years, you can definitely get into your head. I know, at least for me as well. So it's just part of learning more about yourself, your weaknesses, what you're great at. I think RPE also is really good for people that have great self-reflection, knowing that, okay, I have an ego, but that's okay. Let's get this training done and we can reflect back and improve on that. Just doing a little bit better each time, whether it is analyzing, whether it is activating certain cues, and just weight, uh, using the appropriate amount of weight for today's session. So that is just my thoughts about RPE training. Okay. So thank you guys for listening for that. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I can definitely answer them. But until then, see you.